Okay. गौरांग करुणा कर दीनहीन जाने मुसामा पतित प्रभु नाही त्रिभुवने गौरांग करुणा कर दीनहीन जाने मसामपतित प्रभु नाही त्रिभुवने ग्रंथे तृणधारी गौरा डाके है तुम्हार कृपा करिए शो आमार हृदय मंदिरे कांथे तृणधारी गौरा डाके है तुम्हार कृपा करिए शो आमार हृदय मंदिरे यदि दया न करिबे पतित देखिया पतित पावन नाम किशोर लागिया यदि दया न करिबे पतित देखिया पतित पावन नाम किशोर लागिया परीक्षि भवतु फने नाही कनिष्ठारा श्रीचरण तरनिदाने दासे कर पारा परीक्षि भवतु फने नाही कनिष्ठार श्री शरण तरनिदाने दासे कर पार श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासरानुदास प्रार्थना करये सदा नरोत्तम दास श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासरानुदास प्रार्थना करये सदा नरोत्तम दास हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओ जय वैष्णव ठाकुर 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 जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर ओ जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Dear devotees, please forgive me for any mistakes and offenses. Now we shall read the translation. Hare Krishna. Oh, my dear Lord Gauranga, please show your mercy to this lowly and destitute soul. O Lord, there is no one more fallen than myself in all the three worlds.
Holding grass between my teeth, O Lord Gaura. I am calling out to you now. Please be compassionate upon me and come to reside within the temple of my heart.
If you do not give up your mercy, seeing how fallen I am, then why are you known as Patita Pavana, the merciful savior of the fallen? I am plunged amidst the violent hurricane-stricken waves in the ocean of this material world, from which there is no escape. Kindly give me the gift of your divine lotus feet, which are compared to a boat in which your servant may cross over the ocean of birth and death.
Narottam Das, the servant of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, causelessly makes this prayer.
Shriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Narottam Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Contamination is due to the association of the three modes of material nature. So while we're associating with the Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamagun, so we have these problems, right? 262 and 63 in Bhagavad Gita. Adhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vijayate Krodad Bhoti Sammoha Sammohat Smriti Vibhrama Smriti Vibhramshat Buddhinasho Buddhinashat Punashyati. So these two verses. So because we are within the modes of nature, whatever we see, so when we contemplate so then because our senses are all associating with these particular modes of nature, so based on our association with the modes of nature, we develop attachment, and based on the attachment, lust develops, and from the lust, anger develops. And of course, we go to the next verse. Krodhat bhati sammoha. Due to anger, there is illusion. Yes. This is go to the translation. So then there is from anger, complete delusion arises. From delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And intelligence lost, one falls down into material pool. This is the reason why we fall down into this material pool. So, and so these are all the dirty things in our heart. This kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. This anger and of course, lust and anger and greed. And all of these things are the dirty things in our heart. So how to cleanse? The easiest way to cleanse this is 1 to 17 Bhagavatam. Shunvatam Sukatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto Hyabhadrani Vidunotis Hurtsatam. So by gradually hearing about the topics of the Lord, gradually whatever dirty things in our heart begin to cleanse. At least the process begins over there. And then of course, so to cleanse desire for material enjoyment, the heart of the devotee is ready with urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtues and properly heard and chanted. So when we start hearing about Krishna, then the dirty things in our heart begin to get cleansed. Of course, we know the next verse, very popular verse, Nashta Praya Shvabhateshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. So we're associating with the Bhagavatam every day. Bhagavatam means both the Bhagavatam, the person Bhagavatam and the book Bhagavatam. So when we associate by regular attendance in class in Bhagavatam, we're entering service to the pure devotee, all the disturbance that is almost completely destroyed. And loving service in the personality of God, whose praise to transcend the songs established is an irrevocable fact. So at least almost will be destroyed. Complete destruction happens by the mercy of the Lord. But at least by this following this process, almost it is completely gone. So, and of course, that happens by service to the pure devotee. When we go to 1 to 16. So all these Hridyan Tasto Hyabhadrani happens when we serve the pure devotee. Right? Or twice born sages by serving so Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi. We see the Shushtusho Shraddha Dhanasya Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi Syanmayat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. So twice born sages by serving those devotees are completely free from all vice, great service is done. So by serving the pure devotees only we will be able to get rid of all the dirty things in the heart. So that is the only way. So when we have to serve Srila Prabhupada, that is the only way all these things in our heart will begin to get cleansed. So that is a thing. Anyone else would like to add on to the point?
Yes, bro. I would like to add. So the topic, group discussion topic was how can we remain unpolluted by material contamination while in the material world. So first thing is that Nityanandan Prabhu, he said, just stay in the temple as much as possible. That will help you. But in certain circumstances, whatever he said was right. Absolutely, that is the standard. That is a cheat code to be free from material contamination. But some devotees, right, they might have some difficulties to because they're far away from the temple. For example, Smita Krishna Prabhu, Devang Prabhu, or for some reason, whatever, they cannot come regularly to the temple, right? Of course, that is not an excuse, but in an exceptional situation, uh, this can be taken into consideration. So, how to become free, even though you're in the material world, staying around material people and seeing all these rascals, and sometimes even have to work there, how to be free? So I've shared two purports, Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam purport and Bhagavad Gita purport. So here Prabhupada says a person in Krishna consciousness who eats only food offered to Krishna can counteract all reactions of past material infections which are impediments to the progress of self-realization. So first thing is Sevonmukhe Jivvadhavs, right? So the spiritual realization begins from the utilization of the tongue in Krishna's service. And tongue can be utilized in two ways. Number one, honoring only prasadam, which is very easy, everyone can do, who can offer to Krishna and take. And second thing, to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra in as much attentive as possible, in an attentive manner, right? When one does this, then he's actually purified. He will get purified even though he's in the material world. But there's a catch. Of course, regarding the chanting, I mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:15-28, Lord Chaitanya has recommended constant chanting of the name of the Lord for protection from all contamination of the material world. Okay. But there's a catch. You cannot say, okay, I take prasadam, I chant Hare Krishna, I'm okay. No. What is the catch? The catch is that even though one is, for example, far away from the temple and maybe visiting once in a while, he must do this Shravana Kirtana process in the association of the devotees. See, because association of the devotee is the most important factor, right? So one must do this chanting, hearing, honoring prasadam, everything in the association of the devotees. So, in order to be uncontaminated by the material world, you must do this process of chanting, hearing, honoring prasadam, associating with the devotees, at least in the online format, you should take advantage. Because if one does not take advantage of the online format of association like the Istagoshti, Friday Q&A, morning japa session, reading session, etc., within some time one will eventually stop chanting and eventually fall down from his spiritual position, because to chant Hare Krishna requires a lot of spiritual strength, especially if one wants to chant attentively, it requires spiritual strength. And to keep up this preaching spirit, it requires spiritual connection and strength. And this is established and maintained by associating with the devotees. So to summarize, take this online association seriously, chant Hare Krishna in the morning time, Brahma Muhurta time with the devotees, only honor Krishna Prasadam, which is very, very, very crucial, and read Srila Prabhupada's books, lectures, etc. in the association of devotees. When you do this, and ultimately you pray to the Lord for his blessings and for his protection in a sincere way, yes, you will make spiritual progress no matter wherever you are. Even if you're in Antarctica, you'll make spiritual progress. And another thing is that, see, this is not all in all. This online session is not the all in all. It's just a temporary means to eventually bring devotees who are serious, congregation or full time, closer to the temple. Full time means join the temple. Congregation means stay in and around the temple. In the sense, you can stay in Chennai or Bangalore or wherever and try to physically come as much as possible. That is the goal of this online session, ultimately, to bring devotees closer to ISK and Pondicherry. And even if they want to be congregation, at least try to find a place nearby to work, in maybe a nearby state, or rather than staying far away, and come every month, 2, 3 times. That'll help you a lot. Sorry to take a lot of time, but I just wanted to give my full context. Would like to hear from other devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Prabhu, I just wanted to add uh, from Bhagavad Gita 5.10. Here Krishna says, Brahmanya adhyay karmani sangam takta karotiya lipyante na nasa papena padma patram ibhavasa. So one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results onto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by the sinful action as a lotus leaf is untouched by the water. So here in purport, Prabhupada says, here Brahmani remains in Krishna consciousness. The material world is some total manifestation of the three modes of material nature, technically called pradhana. The Vedic hymns सर्वम हि एतद् ब्रह्म, मांडुक्य उपनिषद 2. तस्मात् एतद् ब्रह्म नाम रूपम अन्नम च जायते, मुंडक उपनिषद 119. And in the Bhagavad Gita 14:3, Mama Yonir Mahat Brahma indicates that everything in this material world is a manifestation of Brahman. And although the effects are differently manifested, they are not different from the cause. In the Isopanishad, it is said that everything is related to the Supreme Brahman or Krishna, and thus everything belongs to him only. One who knows perfectly well that everything belongs to Krishna, that he is the proprietor of everything, and that therefore everything is engaged in service of the Lord, naturally has nothing to do with the results of his activities, whether virtuous or sinful. Even one's material body, being a gift of the Lord for carrying out a particular type of action, can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. It is then beyond contamination by sinful reactions. Exactly as the lotus leaf through the remaining in the water is not wet. The Lord also says in the Gita 3:30, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya, resign all works unto me, Krishna. The conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of material body and senses, but a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna and should therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna. So, the main thing is, if one performs his duties without attachment and the surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, so he will be unaffected by the sinful reactions and ultimately the material world, even if he is living in the material world. As Prabhupada, as Krishna also given example, and Prabhupada also mentions in the purport that as the lotus leaf is untouched by the water, even if the lotus leaf and lotus flower is remaining inside the water, it is not touched by the water. So if we will if we will perform our duty without attachment, surrendering the result to Krishna, the Supreme Lord, we will be unaffected towards the material world and material contamination, even if we are living in this material world. So yes, Hare Krishna, Bhagavan Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Very nice points, actually. Just wanted to add that in Nectar of Instruction 3, we have very nice instructions from Rupa Goswami, like on 6 principles favorable execution of pure devotional service. And the reason why I say that and why it is relevant to the topic is that, of course, we can try to be uncontaminated, but how do we do it practically? Right? So, I mean, the 6 instructions are provided here, like being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, and acting according to related principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Swaranam, abandoning the association of non-devotees, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. Right? And then practically, we see that in material world, the main contamination becomes because of like how Shamagovind Prabhu said, our inclination to associate our thoughts with sense objects. And that is very, very contaminating. And it especially happens when you're associating with non-devotees. The words, the actions, the thoughts, and each and every step that you take in the association of non-devotees creates through that never-ending loop, and you end up in illusion and you forget Krishna consciousness. So, in order for us to continuously avoid that, this principle is very necessary. And following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, how do we do that? Like hearing Vaishnava songs, acharya songs, uh, abandoning our sense gratification through engaging our senses in Krishna Prasadam, in hearing the lectures from ISKM devotees, hearing the lectures of Prabhupada through the audio tapes that we have very nicely got, and also like engaging our acquired wealth in service of the devotees, engaging our uh, activities like maybe when we are talking to non-devotees, we actually could teach them the nice principles and slowly bring them to Krishna consciousness. So in this way, although we take association from non-devotees by not by actually providing them the wisdom and knowledge that we get from our acharyas, we actually remain uncontaminated. And that's the only way for us to like continuously be mindful and remain uncontaminated, because technically speaking, it's impossible to remain uncontaminated, especially if you are away from temple. Of course, being in the temple is a gold standard, but if you are away from the temple, if you are not in association of devotees 24 hours a day, it is difficult to like be in that state. And contamination starts contamination starts once we forget Krishna. Right? So in 24/7, remembering Krishna is the gold standard. And slowly we have to like remember these instructions every day, like reading, hearing, chanting, and then I think the sadhana chart is like the best practical guide on how one can actually remain in Krishna consciousness every day. Like if one actually does that day in day out, is sure to like be in Krishna consciousness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 3 minutes, so soon some can get ready for the conclusion. I think most of the points have come out, and Karti Prabhu's answer was really conclusive. So I think most are mentioned. Does anyone want to add anything? Any new points?
I think in summary, we had Sadhu Sangha, Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting about Krishna, surrendering to Krishna, engaging devotional service, engaging our thoughts and actions in Krishna consciousness, rejecting sense gratification, and I think we also had how we actually transfer our attachment from non-material material things to spiritual things. So then, yeah, I think that was what I could remember from.
Yes, Prabhu, I think that was everything. So if there's nothing else, thank you everyone for participating in this group discussion. It was really nice points, really nice many references also.
Thank you so much once again for the very nice group discussion. Thank you, Sami Pro, for hosting and trying to engage all the devotees. So maybe His Grace Prahlad Prabhu can